Hunter's a top 10 wide receiver, not for Dynasty. I'm planting my flag right now. Hunter is going to be a top 7 to 10 wide receiver as a rookie. We're going to see the Malik Neighbors BTJ of this class emerge in 2025. And I know that's going to be, we're going to get a lot of pushback on this one because BTJ's there. T-Law can't support this. We're going to get a lot of that. I can break down every bit of it. I've got a rebuttal for everybody that has a negative angle on this. I don't really care about any of that. I'm telling you what he can do. If it comes at the expense of BTJ's production a little bit, it comes at the expense of BTJ's production a little bit. If T-Law has to throw 33 touchdowns to make this work, he'll throw 33 touchdowns. He doesn't have to throw 50. I'm telling you right now, Travis Hunter will be a top 10 wide receiver as a rookie. Whether you want to believe me or not, I'm only going to push back so much. You don't want to get on this train. The more gravy for everybody else. We're also breaking down the news around the league. Amon-Ra St. Brown has surgery. Terry McLaurin is holding out. Olave trade rumors. Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Finally, we've got a bunch of news to break down. The Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. That show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So, yeah, we're here talking Travis Hunter. There's going to be so much pushback on this. This will be more pushback than the H-hand stuff, than the Breece Hall from years past. More pushback on this than any Kyron Williams take that I've ever had. More pushback on this than the JD5 take that we had. We're going to see people say things like, again, it's going to be, well, what about BTJ? How could this happen, Smitty? But Trevor Lawrence, he'd have to have 50 touchdowns and 6,000. No, he wouldn't. Stop running your mouth. Stop making up stuff. Travis Hunter can be number 6, number 7, number 10 as a rookie. BTJ could be right there in that same range. And don't tell me BTJ can't be even with him or that Travis Hunter couldn't outscore him, because where were you when BTJ wasn't BTJ last year? Were you saying BTJ is going to outscore Neighbors? Were you saying BTJ was going to be better than Marvin Harrison Jr.? I'm telling you that this is this year's version of BTJ. And I believe that this is going to be a season that we look back upon and we see the same type of pushback on the BTJ stuff. Oh, he can't be the number 1 wide receiver of the rookie class. Maybe he's 3, maybe he's 4. This is what it's going to be. And the weird thing about it is the talent's bleeding out of this kid. I don't understand. I don't even get why there would be pushback. I think it's a lot of BTJ owners that have BTJ and they can't admit that this kid could be that good, or it means that BTJ can't maybe climb to number 3 or 4, or number 2 or number 1 where they want him to climb. Is BTJ wide receiver 6 this year, 7, and Travis Hunter 10 or 11? Maybe he's 11 or 12 and I'm off by 1 or 2, or maybe he's 8 or 9 and BTJ 7, 8 or 9. Maybe they're back to back. Maybe BTJ misses 3 or 4 games and Travis Hunter is a top 6 wide receiver. BTJ's number 12, number 11. There's a lot of ways this could go, but I'm planting my flag here and right now. And I'm telling you that Hunter's not only a top 10 wide receiver in 2025 as a rookie, but he's also a top 5 to 10 dynasty wide receiver. So you can take that how you want. You can get mad at that and say that's not possible because I own BTJ. Smitty, this can't happen. I don't like the way Smitty's talking right now. I don't like this at all. You know, we could go that route, and you and I can pull the Elon Trump little divide here. For the first time in your life watching my channel, you get upset at me and you want to go have a little fight and a tantrum. We could do that too, and my phone line will be open. But I don't suggest any of you brush off this kid's upside and ceiling value because you're infatuated with BTJ. BTJ can be amazing too. This sounds like a lap. Yeah, David, go ahead and take a lap. We'll wait for you. It's okay. You can't get them all right, David. This is your lap. You at least admit it.
Take a big lap.
So there you go, David. We'll wait for you. Don't be too hard on yourself, David. Don't be too hard on yourself. Phone line will be open in a minute, but I just want to go over the news. I also want to just plant the flag here. Top 5 to 10 Dynasty wide receiver. I think Hunter and BTJ rotate being the number 1 wide receiver in 2026 and beyond. And I think there's a world where they're back-to-back this year. That might bring down BTJ to wide receiver 6 or 7 for that to happen. No one's saying BTJ's wide receiver 4 again and then Hunter 6 or 5. But is there a world where Hunter 7 and BTJ is 8? Is there a world where BTJ is 6 and Hunter's 10? Is there a world where absolutely? And you don't need 40 plus touchdown production from T-Law to get that done. And if anybody thinks that Liam Cohen can't get him there if they needed him to get there, look at what Baker just did. 40 touchdown Baker Mayfield. Why can't Trevor Lawrence, one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen come out of college almost ever, who failed us definitely, but we see the team has faith in him. He is the guy that is hung around, and they still want to make it work. It isn't like Mac Jones or in the case of these other quarterbacks that have come and go and they leave their team, and even Fields to a degree given up on, and he's going to a new team. He's trying to revitalize. Baker Mayfield left and went to multiple teams, got revitalized, and he got revitalized by the coach that is now in Jacksonville. So Liam Cohen did it to Baker. He can do it with T-Law if T-Law does have the ability. But even if T-Law gets 4,000 yards passing, which is totally doable for T-Law, let's not act like he can't throw the damn ball. He can throw the damn ball. He just needs, this guy's been getting new offenses and coaches every year. Can you blame T-Law for being a little bit behind? Can you blame T-Law after having multiple coaches, multiple schemes over and over and over, especially his first year was a total just throwaway year. He ended up having to explore his second year as his rookie year. He's just been behind from the beginning. And so at the same time, I'm not even judging T-Law. And now that T-Law is with Liam Cohen, who revitalized Baker Mayfield, turned him into a 40 touchdown passer, this is a guy in T-Law that can throw 32, 33 touchdowns pretty easily. And that feeds BTJ and Hunter both 12 plus touchdowns. You give them both 12 touchdowns, that's 24. I hate to break it to you, but T-Law can still have another 9 or 10 to get to his 32, 33 touchdown total, which is totally doable for him. And you can say what you want. I hope there are more people pushing back on this prediction that Travis Hunter, as a rookie, is a top 10 wide receiver. I hope there are more people pushing back on that prediction and that he's not a top 5 to 10 dynasty wide receiver. I hope we have more pushback on this than anything else before, because it will make it more beautiful than the "we told you so" JD5 moments. It'll make it more beautiful than "we told you so" Achan, Kyron, Bucky, all of those moments combined. This will be maybe the biggest prediction on the channel in the history of this content.
Let him cook.
On other topics that we need to discuss, and the phone lines will be open for all of you negative Noahs that want to come in and school me on why this can't happen. Smitty, let me tell you something. Do you really think T-Law can support that? I've already shot it all down, but you'll call in and repeat it if you even do. Terry McLaurin remains to be seen if Terry McLaurin will attend mandatory minicamp. Right now, he's in, you could call holdout mode light. He's in holdout mode light. He will probably not hold out. It'll probably be a hold-in scenario. Players have figured that out, is what they do now. So you're going to see this guy walk in and stretch and have a hamstring injury. It's going to be one of those things, but at least he'll be there. He'll be throwing the ball. He'll be smiling. He'll be, getting along with his teammates. But if he does hold in to any length and doesn't get out there and start doing stuff and put in work, he runs the risk of injury probably more than any other receiver that could rank inside the top 15 wide receivers for fantasy football. Why? Because he's an older player. Older players holding out is not a good recipe. Debo Samuel is already going to walk in and take a lot of work. I'm not saying he makes Terry McLaurin a bust candidate for 2025, but I do believe people are drafting him way too early. I think that his touchdown season is not an anomaly, but it's also not something that he's going to exactly replicate. I think it's something in between. I think McLaurin's been waiting to bust out and have an amazing touchdown capable season. He just needed the quarterback, and the touchdown number that he pulled in last year is not so much an anomaly. It's more so he's just needed that quarterback and he got him. But in conjunction with the addition of the Debo Samuel acquisition, on top of the fact that it was a little inflated, I think we're going to see a little bit of a return back down to earth for Terry McLaurin. And if he holds out any length of time or holds in any length of time, this could be an issue of him getting banged up and having a hamstring injury and having something linger in the first 4 or 6 weeks of the season. Either way, Debo Samuel to me is the league winner. Debo Samuel to me is one of the very best values in fantasy football, period. Like, Debo to me I'm drafting Debo almost more than any other late round wide receiver, because Debo Samuel has the capability I would say a wide receiver, high-end wide receiver 2. You're buying him as a wide receiver 3, not even a high-end wide receiver 3. Debo's going in the 6th round. He's going in the sometimes 60s and 70s. It depends on what contest you're in. Depends on what grandma league you're in. Debo's going in such a late territory. He's a mid-range to late wide receiver 3. Yet he can give you, I don't want to say wide receiver 1 numbers, but high-end wide receiver 2 numbers. And I'm all about it. It doesn't mean I don't like McLaurin. Doesn't mean I'm predicting bust for McLaurin. But cost of entry, Debo in the 60s to 70s versus McLaurin inside the top of round 3. Give me Debo all day long, and you can cuff him, stack him to JD5, and it's a glorious situation. Again, we'll monitor what's going on with McLaurin, but definitely not what you want to hear. But it could get worked out pretty quickly, so hang tight on that. We got Jalen Wright. This news is glorious for Achane. A lot of people not in the know won't understand this, but we want Jalen Wright to carry the damn ball and carry it a lot in 2025. This is a very good between the tackles runner. He was first in his class in the first 5 yards of his 40-yard dash, which is basically hitting the hole. He had the best 40 time section of his 40-yard dash, first 5 yards, that matters the most for an RB. Hitting that hole before it closes, this was the guy. He is supposed to be the Mostert of this offense. We need a Mostert in this offense in order to get Achane back into the wide back role, which I believe Mike McDaniel from day one, from Jump Street, thought that this was his Debo Samuel Achane. And a lot of people pegged Tyreek Hill to play the Debo Samuel wide back role when Miami Mike McDaniel first arrived in Miami, but it was Achane from the start. It was an inverse version of Debo Samuel. It was a running back playing wide receiver, but it was a wide back. Make no mistake about it. So Jalen Wright gets back to between the tackles, the grunt work, while Achane, who averaged 7.8 yards per carry as a rookie, which is the number one average for a running back with over, I believe it's a qualifier of 100 carries in the history of the NFL. Achane has had a better yards per carry average, the biggest rip per carry out of any player in National Football League history. That with the qualifier of carries to be included, not somebody that carried the ball 5 times or 17 times or whatever. This is a monster, Achane. And his yards per carry went down dramatically last year. He was a between the tackles runner, didn't get hurt, proved he can take the work and carry the load, shoulder the load of a between the tackle every down back, which is phenomenal. But we want him getting maybe 4 or 5 less carries, getting more optimal touches that he can bounce out to the outside, a lot of receiving work so that Achane can drop over 100 yards sum total per game and at least maybe almost one touchdown a game. That's how capable he is. 15 to 18 touchdowns, 4 to 6 receptions per game, 12 to 15 carries per game, and Achane goes to
Stock on the rise.
We need Jalen Wright to do his job so that Achane can do his job. And we don't want Achane doing everyone's job, because then Achane can't be Achane, the player that we know he is meant to be, which is a one-inch player every single time he's on the field. Not, hey, play the Jalen Wright role and play your role, get worn down, have 90 yards total. That's the difference. He can become more efficient, have more yardage on less work. That's what he did as a rookie. That's why he was so effective as a rookie. No one could contain the offense. You had to watch out for Mostert as much as you did Achane, and Achane was unable to be capped or contained. So Achane to the mother freaking moon. Achane is always going to be a moonman, Marsman, Satterman in our eyes. And Jalen Wright is a big part of making that happen and continue to happen in 2025. Kyle Pitts, there's still rumors that this guy might be on the move. Adam Schefter believes that the Falcons could be enticed to trade Kyle Pitts. We keep hearing it. So usually when things don't go away and the team doesn't shut it down completely and it still lingers, it usually means something's going on. So Kyle Pitts probably going to strongly be considered to be moved. They don't really trust him. I don't blame him. He dropped some balls in some key moments, made a very, very, very good catch at one point late in the year that made us all think, wow, maybe he can revive himself. But there was a time where Penix Jr. came in with, I believe it was his first start, 3 weeks. Penix Jr. came in and played football. And I believe it was that first game where he entered the game and he was throwing the ball, and Kyle Pitts, everybody was dropping it. And it was like, oh, okay, it's coming from a lefty. It might be hard to catch. These guys are maybe not used to the zip on the ball. And everyone was dropping it left and right. It was head scratching. It was very frustrating to watch Penix Jr. not have the big game that he could have had his first run out there in 2024. And Kyle Pitts was a big reason why he didn't. Dropping balls. Maybe they are going to trade him, and we'll see what happens. I'd love to see Michael Mayer on the Falcons. I'd love to see, I would have loved to see Fannin Jr. drafted instead of to the Browns over on the Falcons roster. Would have been phenomenal. DJ Moore said he's not sure he'll see as many touches in 2025 as in recent seasons. That's why he's getting way overdrafted. The fact that some people are drafting DJ Moore as like a 4.1 or a 3.10 or a 4.4 is crazy to me. This could be one of the biggest mistakes you make in fantasy if you make this guy your third or fourth drafted player. This is a crowded wide receiver room led by a quarterback that has a lot to prove, and yet people just give him, let him just have his flowers already in Caleb Williams. Lamar Jackson, looks like they're talking about a contract extension, an introductory stage and phase of the contract extension. So we'll have more information on this later on, but definitely something that we're going to have to watch. I don't think there's anything to concern yourself with in terms of this year, but they're having an introductory conversation, and rightfully so. Lamar's such a monster, and it makes me laugh thinking back to when we break these live streams on the franchise tag back when it happened. We're talking about when Lamar was franchise tagged, and we're like, I said he's going to get scooped up like that. Not a single team went after him. Now he's already getting an extension. It's like, what are teams doing? How many teams dropped the ball on that? I mean, we couldn't have been more right when the entire league was pretty much wrong on Lamar Jackson and not going after and getting him. Now, do I think he has a successful season this year? I think that the Ravens will be in a position to maybe, get second in the division, grab the top wild card spot. But I do believe there will be some ups and downs for the Ravens this year. Have the Bengals winning the division and the Ravens getting the first wild card spot out of the AFC North. But I think that either struggle through Henry or some ups and downs in terms of injuries on the team. I do think that they will eventually, get close to competing with the Bengals for the division win, but will grab one of the wild card spots. I'm not saying they bust this year. I'm just saying expect a little concern with Derrick Henry. At some point, there's just no way he can continue to do it. Maybe he does it one more year, but at some point, everybody just acting like Derrick Henry's going to live forever. It's not going to be the case, and Lamar does run a lot. we'll see if they have any sort of setbacks or some missteps this year that make the Bengals have a clear path to the division win, or makes it a very, very tough fight at the end because the Ravens are playing catch up. That's just kind of a gut instinct I have. You can get mad at me all you want. Anthony Richardson looks like he's struggling with a shoulder injury. This guy might never, ever, ever, ever bounce back. And Danny Dimes is not a good quarterback. The Colts are just, I don't know. Shane Steichen is probably going to get fired. Like, how can you misstep this much at quarterback? How can you think Danny Dimes would be your safety net answer? How do you not draft Shedeur Sanders in the second round, in the third round, in the fourth round? How do you not make a trade to get a pick that can get you Shedeur? Maybe when you don't even have a pick yet, you went a different direction and you're sitting there around 4 and you're like, let's trade up. How do you not get Shedeur Sanders? Any quarterback, a needy team that didn't get Shedeur should be fired after the season when you watch Shedeur play out in Cleveland. I'm just telling you that right now. As good as Shane Steichen was with Jalen Hurts, doesn't matter. It's not acceptable. Maybe you need to be an OC, Shane Steichen. Maybe you need to be an OC. Maybe you're good at OCing, but you're obviously a bad and horrible head coach when you don't even see the need for quarterback and the solution sitting right in front of you in Shedeur. Laughable. Laughable. This news is not good. Amon-Ra St. Brown underwent cleanup surgery with his knee this offseason. Not saying that he can't escape this and be completely healthy, but cleanup surgery is never really good. You're cleaning up what? Loose particles, potential tiny meniscus tear. Was there any sort of surgery in that cleanup to cut and snip any of the meniscus? Sometimes a little snip is fine, but if you have to cut too much, then you have a knee that has some imbalance to it, kind of like a brake pad. If you were to slice a corner of a brake pad off, you would have some imbalance and eventually have the whole vehicle out of alignment. So I don't really know what the details are. We don't always get told the details, so we kind of are guessing at this point. Cleanup surgery to remove loose bodies inside that knee. Sometimes a bone chip could be in there. There's a lot of reasons to go in and do some cleanup surgery, but cleanups sometimes incorporate cutting of meniscus. This is a guy that's always banged up. This is somebody to kind of keep an eye on. This is somebody that I think had an anomaly touchdown season, that has a quarterback in Jared Goff that is going to play lesser this year than he did last year. This offense will be a little bit on a struggle bus in the beginning part of the year, in my expert opinion, because you're going to have Ben Johnson departing become a problem, at least initially, as they start to adjust and say, we aren't maybe the same passing attack we were with Ben Johnson. We might have to lean on our run. We might need to run Monty and Gibbs a whole lot more in 2025. Doesn't mean that we won't get good production out of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Doesn't mean that J-Mo can't do well. But these people that think J-Mo is going to be a third or fourth round return on investment in fantasy football with a likely step backwards in the passing attack is head scratching to me. Yeah, Morton could be good. He might not be good. They hired him after he left for Denver for 1 year and was a QB coordinator over in Denver. Had a hand in Bo Nix's season last year, but how much did he really do? We don't even know what he's bringing to the table. This is the big stage for him for the first time. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know that I have confidence that Morton can replicate what Ben Johnson was doing. They clearly wanted him because they wanted somebody familiar with the system. And again, this is kind of an in-house hire, even though he was in Denver last year. But it's still an enigma. You don't know what Morton's bringing to the table. And if they try, remember when McCarthy tried to take over the passing attack and they're sitting here going, okay, we're going to right now run the damn ball, is what he said. Remember McCarthy taking over play calling duties as their OC moved on, and they're like, we're going to run the damn ball. And they ended up not doing well with it. So they had to revert back to what they had. They figured it out, but it was a slow start, a slow transition. When Shane Steichen left the Eagles many years ago, or a handful of years ago, and they struggled to find their identity, they had to go through another OC, which ended up being Kellen Moore, who just left again. The Eagles even struggled to find their passing identity. This happens. Ben Johnson leaving is a problem. Amon-Ra St. Brown being often injured and having an anomaly type touchdown season and likely seeing a lesser passing attack in his environment, this is going to be potentially a problem. I just like Neighbors better. I like BTJ better. I might even like, I might just go, I'm obviously drafting Genty over Amon-Ra. I'm not saying Amon-Ra falls out of my top 13, 14, but it just puts him in this like Nico, Drake London right below him, but Genty above Amon-Ra, Neighbors above Amon-Ra, and BTJ above Amon-Ra. That's not a very disrespectful like shuffle. It's just I'm worried about this offense. I really am. Amon-Ra is going to have potentially a little bit of a regression in the touchdown category this year. So just don't overdraft him in every league. Olave, this is weird because, whenever a coach says something like this, that they're entertaining trade conversations, but we haven't heard anything definitive. But when head coach Kellen Moore was asked if Olave trade speculation was legit, he said, I wouldn't worry too much about that. We feel really, really good about Chris. He's had an excellent offseason. He's had an excellent career so far, and he's going to have an excellent future. That sounds very, very wildly questionable to me in terms of, he's definitely not shooting down an Olave trade. So Olave could be on the move. A lot of people are going to say Pittsburgh, but you got to ask the question of why Pittsburgh got rid of Pickens if they want to bring in another wide receiver. Maybe they didn't believe in Pickens. That makes sense. But at the end of the day, I don't know that the Steelers are going to be the team to acquire him, but it's certainly in the realm of possibility. Jackson Dart, kind of a concerning line here. 5 of 9 passing, 0 TDs and 2 INTs in the practice today. So that's not the greatest news. It's just early though. Don't worry about it too much. But Rashee Rice, for those that didn't see the report yesterday, I believe it was, Rashee Rice is a full participant in practice, ready to go. Top 6 to 10 wide receiver loading.
Let him cook.
I mean, yeah, Rashee Rice is going to have such a great year. Mahomes is going to have such a great year. Mahomes is, as I've said many, many times before, and I'll continue to say it on this channel, Mahomes will go down, in my opinion. Him and Travis Hunter are going to go down as this year's 2 players that we look back upon, not on this channel, because we're going to get it right, but the industry's biggest blunder will be the ADPs of Mahomes and Travis Hunter in 2025, especially the early ADP of Travis Hunter, which we took full advantage of. But even now, Travis Hunter's in the 4th round. Grandma League's probably round 5, with the news about DK Metcalf getting his quarterback Aaron Rodgers, which we'll talk about in a second. That definitely might put players like Hunter maybe a couple spots back on the ADP ranks as DK moves up and bumps some players down. But Mahomes will look back upon as the biggest blunder in the industry in terms of valuing and undervaluing the player. DK Metcalf gets an upgrade with Aaron Rodgers in town. Will Howard and Aaron Rodgers is better than just Will Howard. So that's the way you got to look at it. If Aaron Rodgers fails, then Will Howard comes in, and he would have been in anyway. And he's got a little bit more mental reps, and maybe it all works out. But DK goes up in value. Aaron Rodgers, no one should own him in 1 QB anyway, but in Superflex, he was going so cheap because people don't like drafting a player that hasn't yet made it known that they're going to play. No one wants zeros in best ball, which if you want to draft with us tonight at midnight Eastern, hit this link right here, Underdog promo code Smitty. They'll match up to 50% of your first deposit, all the way up to $1,000. There's the link right there. So if you deposit $10, they'll give you 5. 10's the minimum. If you deposit $20, they'll give you 10. If you deposit $2,000, they'll give you 1,000. All the way up to 1,000. Minimum's only $10. They'll match it 50% and give you bonus credit in your account that is 50% of your first deposit, up to 1,000. So do it live. Get ready. Hit that link now. Sign up, and then just have the app ready and opened when we go live. And the instructions will be, hey, go into this draft. Click it now. Jump in. So get ready. And we'll announce it in the live chat tonight which one we're going to get in. Rashee Rice, top 5 to 10 wide receiver season loading. Doesn't mean Worthy can't have an excellent season as well. DK Metcalf is a high-end wide receiver 2 capable player that you hope to draft you hope to get him as your elite wide receiver 3, but you take him as a mid-range to low-end wide receiver 2, but he can give you high-end wide receiver 2 production. Aaron Rodgers should be grabbed in Superflex, but really only Superflex, and his ADP is going to skyrocket in Superflex underdog because he now has a team. Skyrockets meaning like instead of going when no quarterbacks are getting drafted anymore and he's like above all these like barely rookie darts and guys that might not even start, Shador, Aaron Rodgers is sitting there hovering above those guys for a while. Now he's going to go a lot higher. He's going to go probably, I would say 4 rounds in best ball, Superflex 3 rounds, let's say higher, which is still acceptable. And, you know, I drafted him last night in an underdog draft where I waited on my second quarterback and I got him really late and I feel pretty good about it. I paired him with Will Howard. It's not a bad Superflex QB. This emoji's in the group of emojis for the YouTube exclusive members, so drop the Travis Hunter emoji. Also note that Travis Hunter, who was a Saturn man, and we dropped that so early on, I believe in January or February, he is elevated to the Jupiter men, and we've got a crowded board. I'm not adding more names. I'm just shuffling them around at times. So know that we're not going to put 10 guys on each of the lists, but if we moved 8, 9, 10 guys to the Jupiter list, the Marsmen, Saturn, or Moon, Mars, or Saturn list might have less players than originally planned. Like one might have 4 because we shuffled them around. But Travis Hunter is on the Jupiter men list.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
And keep in mind, he was added February 22nd. We were getting him in the 8th and 9th and 10th round on underdog. He was a 9th and 10th rounder when people were saying, wah, but what if he plays cornerback? And some people are still saying that. Like, he's going to play both sides, but he's a wide receiver. He was drafted as a wide receiver. But Smitty, what if he plays DB? I just have a bad feeling. You have a bad feeling because you're a worried William. You're a scared Scotty. Well, scared money don't make money. And we've been saying when he was an 8, 9, 10 round pick because people were too scared to understand that his talent will shine through. We've been cleaning up on this since February 22nd. We are the highest channel on Travis Hunter, period. End of discussion, period. He will be a top 10 wide receiver as a rookie. He's a top 5 to 10 wide receiver in Dynasty, and I don't care what anybody thinks. I just don't care. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Can't wait. I can't wait for all the scared Scotties to come crawling back, you know, after 2 weeks. Even like the second week of football, you know, could be something to where people are running in here going, yeah, I can't believe I'm so mad. What do I give up for? This is what we're going to see. Ready? Week 1, Travis Hunter looks amazing. Week 2, Travis Hunter. People are going to scramble in here and go, Smitty, should I give 3 first-rounders and Amon-Ra St. Brown for Travis Hunter? Should I overpay now? And I'm going to say to you, why did you wait? It's too late for you now to go get Travis Hunter. We're taking away your Hunter card. And we're going to have a Hunter card.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Travis Hunter card. By the way, we'll draft tonight again. Please be ready to draft. Smitty probably gonna grab Jonnu, says Buckeye. They might. There's a lot of talk about Jonnu. The Steelers have. We talked about this earlier today. They picked up the phone. They've asked twice now. 2 different conversations about Jonnu Smith. Problem is, and this is why I think that it's up in the air. I mean, it's 50-50. It depends what you could get back, right? If you're Miami Mike, but you're thinking if you're Miami Mike, I don't know how this helps me because I'm living and dying by Tua Tagovailoa. Having not only success, but staying healthy, taking away Jonnu, who adds a dynamic to the offense that keeps Tua healthy. He's a safety mechanism. If he doesn't let go of the football and it get completed, you know, and that's what Jonnu does, complete passes, moves the chains, then Tua gets leveled. Tua takes an extra sack a game or more if Jonnu's not moving the chains. So it doesn't really compute to get rid of Jonnu. But if Jonnu, and yeah, Freiermuth goes down anyway, Phil. I don't even want Freiermuth. Why are they inquiring about tight end after tight end, and why are they trying to get rid of Freiermuth if they believe in him? They don't, so I'm not going near Freiermuth. But yeah, I to be honest with you, I don't really know if a Jonnu move makes sense. I don't get why you would even contemplate it if you were Miami Mike McDaniel. Your job is tied to Tua having success, and you only know that Tua succeeds with Jonnu. Let me see if the phone line's working.
No, you're right, Smitty. Birdie sucks.
Okay, phone lines are working. Voicemail played. Dial in, dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Yeah, I don't see Jonnu being traded. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah, Hunter, I can't wait for people to say, let me put it up here. Hunter. Actually, you know what? Let me just do this. Hunter equals top 10 wide receiver 2025 and top 5 to 10 wide receiver Dynasty. I can't wait. Say what you want about it. Speak your mind. Put your receipt on in the chat. Can't wait to review it later. Can't wait to review it later. Top 10 2025 receiver, top 5 to 10 Dynasty wide receiver. What this kid is capable of doing has not even been revealed. What he's capable of doing as a wide back has not even been revealed. And before you open your mouth and say something you're going to be embarrassed about, like wide back, he'd get hurt. You don't know what a wide back even is. If you think that he's getting hurt playing wide back, you don't even know what a wide back is. You're about to say he's going to get carries up the gut, aren't you? This kid has not even scratched the surface. He might have 220 rushing yards and 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns the way that Cohen's going to deploy him. The reason he might be a better wide receiver than BTJ, even as a rookie, could be adding his rushing stats to his receiving stats. Or he just has the most glorious rookie wide receiver season we've seen since BTJ. Can't wait. Can't wait. I don't know if the phone lines. Dial in. Mahomie and BTJ. Do we even have Mahomes on the Jupiter list or on any list at all? Is Mahomes even on? Let's go through the list of predictions.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
I think he's on one of these lists. But...
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
The Moon Men.
No, okay. So Mahomie, we'll do an official announcement on Mahomes, but he is a Saturn man.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Mahomes and Hunter.
Spaceman.
Mahomes and Hunter. Mahomie and Hunter are the two. They will go down in 2025 as the two biggest blunders in...
Motion detected at the front door.
Ziggy, show me the front door.
Okay.
Who's at the front door right now? In the middle of my speech. In the middle of my speech. I have to start over now. Oh, they're leaving. Okay. Ziggy off. Let me reset. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Hunter will go down as the two biggest ADP blunders by the fantasy industry for people outside of this community. We're going to be right on it. We're going to be smashing the Hunter ADP like we have been all offseason. It's already been a blunder. It's already a scarlet letter for anybody that said, I don't want to take him in round 8 or 9. What if he plays DB? We already won. We already cleaned up on Travis Hunter ADP. And even though he's going in round 4 right now, he's still going to crush round 4. And Mahomes in 6-7, your moms are ashamed of you if you're passing on Mahomes in round 6 and 7. Even on underdog, when you can bully quarterback with Mahomes in 6 and 7. These are going to be, in retrospect, the two biggest steals in fantasy football 2025. The two biggest ADP blunders by the industry, Mahomes and Hunter. Do it live. Do it live. Super chats are here. Any super chat will be answered in order in which they were received, and I will answer them immediately. So I apologize if I made anybody wait by a few announcements. Here's the first super chat by John. John, are you still here? Benji, are you still here? Please hang tight, Bruce. Mute yourself real quickly. John says 12-team super flex 1.2 for Bucky and Jonnu. I would probably rather have Bucky, but I'm starting to waver because of what Travis Hunter means to me in Dynasty. And I believe there is a world where I like them as dead even Steven players. I think if I had Hunter and you offered me Bucky in a draft, or I'm sorry, after a draft, I had Travis Hunter, you had Bucky. I obviously took Travis Hunter later than you took Bucky. And you said, I'll give you Bucky for your Travis Hunter. I think I'd say no. So, while I want to say Bucky here, and I do, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say give me Travis Hunter. And that's a newfound value for me, because Bucky was the clear number 2 overall. Whenever I was asked that question, throw Bucky. It doesn't mean it doesn't move to 3 or past 3. Bucky's the 3 overall player if he got dropped and was inserted into a rookie draft. So you have Genty going 1. You had Bucky going 2 if Bucky was in just a fun and game theory type of situation. I would take Bucky. I would have taken Bucky 2. But now Bucky moves to 3. Hunter moves to 2. And I love Hendy too. I'm not saying I don't, but Travis Hunter is the guy for me. Need help in my super flex. I have Baker. The other team has Achane. He doesn't have a QB2. Even this trade out, how much should I pay for Achane? I think that, 1 for 1, I can understand it. If you can get by at QB, I could understand making this trade straight up. I could also understand somebody drafting Baker in a super flex over Achane. It's a super flex. Now, would I give up a second? If I could weather through the QB, overpay a little bit to get my RB because I'm strong at quarterback, I would give up a couple seconds and Baker for Achane. But that's me. A lot of people wouldn't even do that. But if I'm good at QB, I would do that, Benji. But I don't think you need to overpay too much because this is a player, Baker, that deserves a lot of damn respect. A lot of damn respect in Superflex. Ken Wood says, what are we doing here? I don't know what this is. Capital B, lowercase I. Buy? I don't know what we're saying there. Ken Wood, please clarify. But that is a $20 hauler, and we will celebrate you, young man.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Let me know what you meant to say there. Maybe you meant to say hi. I don't know. But it's almost like you're saying goodbye. But Ken would appreciate your super chat. Let me know what you meant to say. Phone lines are open. I'm watching the basketball game out of the corner of my eye, but this show's more important. If anybody's doing the same thing, please make sure you're doing it in the corner of your eye as well, and you're not leaving. But the basketball game, game 1, Indy 10, OKC 10. This is going to be, I guess, an entertaining game. I'll more likely watch the second half than anything else. But Phone line's open. Dial in. Bruce, I'm sorry. I forgot that the phone line had you run the phone line. Hold on, Bruce. Let me just read this super chat real quickly. Love you, Smitty, but I don't know how Hunter stays healthy playing all those snaps. David, you can keep doubting all you want, and I appreciate you, by the way. And $20 super chat.
Alert. Super chat alert.
But I don't know what makes you the keeper of his health. I don't know what makes you think that he can't do it when he's trained to do it. You know, like David W. asked the question, what other players done it? The answer is no. If I go out and I try and run a marathon right now, David, do you think I would get injured? Probably, because I don't train for marathons right now. I mean, when I was younger, I did. But right now, if I just went out and even with experience of running that much, if I went out and tried to run a marathon today, I only run about a mile or two a day if I'm lucky, about a mile or two a day. My knees are bad. If I went out and tried, even if my knees weren't bad, and I tried to run a marathon today with healthy knees, I would get injured, David. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I don't train for it. This man's trained for it. He's trained to play both sides of the ball. Not to mention, he's a wide receiver first. He's playing wide receiver snaps, and he's going to play situational lockdown cornerback when it's third down and they need the ball back so he can then score a touchdown on a reception. Like, so for you to, you're going to miss out on a lot, David. You say I love you, but you can't be, I'm sorry, David, and I appreciate you, and I love your $20 hauler, and you know how much it means to me that you love the channel. But I can't in good conscience say that you're a Travis Hunter fan. You can't say I love you, but, and then say something about Travis Hunter, then say that you like him and you're on team Travis Hunter. You just can't. You just took it away. You just took away your ability to say you're on team Travis Hunter because you said you're giving me a positive before you give me your negative. You can't say you're on team Travis Hunter. You just can't do it. You've taken away your own Hunter card on a $20 super chat, David. And who makes you the keeper of his health? I don't understand. David, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. And David doesn't, I don't know if he's sweating or if this is, are you crying from your forehead or sweating? I don't know, David. That's the wrong emoji if you're trying to put a sad cry face. But David, you're more than free to call in and we can hash it out and make up on the phone line. Bruce, you're live. Go ahead. Thank you, David, for the super chat.
Hey.
Hold on, Bruce. I'm sorry. 1 second. Okay. Go ahead,
I
Bruce.
was kind of trying to figure out. Hey, Smitty, I was trying to figure out what you think of like DK now that he has Rodgers. How much further do you think Hunter falls, or does he just stay?
I think. Where do I think his ADP goes? You mean?
Yeah. What do you think his ADP is? It staying the same? Is it going to go down? Is it
like we said? No, his ADP is going to go up. I think. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. Ken Wood, thank you for the $20 hauler. Thank you, David, for the $20 hauler. You guys are legends, monsters. David, I hope you're not mad at me. I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. Just because you drop a super chat, you're always going to get honesty from me, and I hope you appreciate that, David. I hope that's what makes you come back to super chat, not, hey, he didn't like what I said, so I'm going to, like, you're always going to get honesty from me. And Ken Wood coming in with the $1 hauler doesn't change. What is this? Yeah, Ken Wood said, I think he was trying to say hi earlier, and then this one was blank. Ken Wood, let's try one more time. Let's do three times the charm. But anyway, I don't know if David, I could never be mad at you. Okay, David's not mad. David's got thick skin. Let's give David a standing ovation for.
There you go. He's never been mad at you, Smitty.
He gets a little bit roasted on his $20 super chat. And I could never be mad at you, Smitty. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to give you back your Hunter card unless you make a whole presentation and we have everybody vote on giving you it back. I'll tell you that right now. As for DK, how could it not go up? You know what I'm saying? How could it not go up? I imagine it goes up because before he had just Will Howard. Now DK Metcalf has Aaron Rodgers and Will Howard. So if things go awry, he's going to have both quarterback options. So I fully believe that his ADP will go up. And I think it climbs, and people have just been waiting for things to settle. Like last night, Aaron Rodgers, even when I remember we drafted him on my team together. I was asking you guys your opinions on my draft, and I didn't have a super flex quarterback yet, and we're like Aaron Rodgers, and even we were wavering at his ADP a little bit because you're afraid to take someone that could get you a 0. And so Aaron Rodgers, now that he's on the roster, is going to climb up multiple rounds in best ball ADP, super flex. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers in 1 QB, and neither should you. But in Superflex, he's a pretty damn good quarterback to grab as your second QB. And he will only climb so fast. So you could draft tonight on Underdog and probably still get him at a pretty decent value. But I believe DK will also climb as people have been waiting for him. He's a wide receiver that hasn't had a quarterback yet. So it's pretty easy to, I think, say now, oh, I really like DK Metcalf a lot more. And then, I think that's the way it's going to go for people. They're going to start to say DK Metcalf now with Aaron Rodgers and Will Howard and with a solidified QB situation goes up 4 overall, 5 overall, 6 overall ADP spots and 1 or 2 wide receiver spots. And if he overtakes a Travis Hunter, that means Travis Hunter doesn't drop 1 ADP spot. He drops 1 wide receiver spot, but he drops 2 or 3 or 4 ADP spots because it's not just when you go down the wide receiver ranks, you slide down 1 ADP spot. It's usually a couple running backs or a quarterback or a tight end in between. So I hope Travis Hunter is the casualty of the DK Metcalf climb in ADP, but I just don't know. He's around his ADP is why I say that. But yeah, I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers throwing 10 touchdowns to DK Metcalf and 1050 or 1,100 yards, is it that hard to imagine? I don't think so. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty decent at the end of the year. He just isn't a winner right now. I don't know if that changes because he walks into a winning environment, but I already broke it down. I don't think Rodgers makes the playoffs. I don't think the Steelers make the playoffs this year. This is a tough year for the Steelers to be going through all this right now. There's just not a scenario I can think up where the Pittsburgh Steelers make the playoffs unless Lamar tears his ACL in week 1 and now the wild card spot isn't coming from that side of the fence. And now you have a battle between the Jets, the Steelers, the Chargers, and the Raiders for the 3 wild card spots. Then it becomes, and the Broncos. So Broncos, unless the Broncos win the division, but let's just say the Chiefs win the division for simplicity. Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, Jets, and Steelers. If let's say something happened to Lamar, then you're still in a tight spot. I don't think the Steelers make the playoffs. I think this is a bad ending to Aaron Rodgers' reign. To have the Steelers always have this, winning record, make the playoffs last year, what's going to happen to Aaron Rodgers now, his legacy, when he can't even get this team to the playoffs? It's going to be pretty bad, I think. But who knows what happens, bro?
Yeah, and I got one more. Do you think with Rashad Bateman, I think is how you say his name, signing his extension today, do you think that makes him any more valuable or no?
I think Bateman's okay, but have I ever drafted him this year in over, I don't know how many best ball drafts I've drafted in. Let's call it 300 or 400. Never drafted him. Will that change? Okay. Probably not. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because I seen that he signed his extension. And I was like, hey, maybe Lamar must really like this guy.
Lamar doesn't, Lamar doesn't make, first of all, just to correct that statement, Lamar Jackson doesn't make top 20 wide receivers.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so his extension was 3-year, $36 million extension. Just for people that
I think it was 36 with $20 million guaranteed.
Yep, 36.75 was the extension. I'll put the extension on in 1 second.
He's good. He's good for their system. You know, he's reliable. Lamar trusts him. He plays the part, so he's still pretty young. So why not lock him up?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's like Michael Wilson for the Cardinals. He's like, you hope that he could have some. I think Michael Wilson's going to play better this year, but I mean, that's what he's been. Look at, 2024 posting career highs in receiving yards, 756 and 9 touchdowns. I don't think he replicates the 9 touchdowns. I think he can replicate maybe 750 and 5 or 810 and 5. But Lamar has a tough enough time making Flowers a relevant fantasy football wide receiver. So Ken Wood, hold on. Ken Wood dropped his message finally. Ken Wood, appreciate your $20 hauler and then your additional super chat in conjunction with that, trying to get this message across. Longtime fan trying 3-peat this year. Got Sun God, Jacobs, and Chase Brown in a keeper league. Any advice? I think trading Jacobs away on the high is smart. He's got tremendous value right now. And even in Dynasty, I don't think people are scared and running from him. I think they're a little bit less willing to pay up than you would want because of the workload he's had over the years, but his 2025 value, like Barkley's, is still very much an exciting proposition for a lot of people. So you got to find a player, Kenwood, that's also doubted, like Bucky, like Achane in a way. I mean, Achane's doubted, but he's people still love him, but he's got doubters. But Bucky's got a lot more doubters, I think, from a dynasty perspective. I would trade Jacobs for Hunter. I'd trade Jacobs for Hendy. I would trade Jacobs maybe for Harvey and something just because you can get more. I don't go trading Jacobs for pennies on the dollar. I'm not saying that. I keep Chase Brown. I keep Sun God unless I can swap him out for, like, let's say you could take Sun God and Jacobs and turn that into Hunter and Bucky or something. You know, that would be an intriguing proposition. Or take Sun God and go to the Hunter owner and see what RBs he has. Don't do it for just any old RB he has. It'd have to be something significant. Go look at what other wide receivers are like Neighbors. If you could give up a bunch of second rounders and trade Sun God out for Neighbors and get that, you know, a little bit more upside for the long term. I like that a lot. I like BT over Sun God. It's not that I don't like Sun God. I don't like his situation as much as I did with Ben Johnson there. So I'm a little worried about the long-term value. Plus, he's always injured, and he just had knee cleanup surgery, proof that he's always kind of banged up. I worry that Sun God doesn't have consecutive 17-game seasons like year after year. I think he's going to have a season where he doesn't miss time or misses one game, and he has a season where he misses 4 games with a knee issue or something.
I think it's either that or, I mean, he is tough as nails. He seems to stick it out. So if it is just where he gets banged up here and there, he may even be able to do that for a couple more years. But
then he starts breaking down.
At some point, yeah, like he might be one of those guys that, you know, you hit 28, 29 years old and you start to break down a little bit. More than your average receiver does. He really does.
No offense, Attic. No offense, Attic, but you're putting this out there. I just got to shut it down. J-Mo is the man there. No, he's not. J-Mo is a good player, but St. Brown is the man there. Let's not mix things up. J-Mo is fighting to be the team's – he's going to try and be the team's second option, but he'll probably share the team's third option. He's not even going to be the definitive third option to feed there. You know, Laporta could overtake him there if Laporta stays healthy. It could be Gibbs that receives more targets or equal to J-Mo. So J-Mo is nice, you know, but everybody's valuing J-Mo way too high. In an offense that lost their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, in an offense where Goff is a player that we've seen not play well for years until Ben Johnson got his hands on him. You know, so you got to be careful with this J-Mo hype. I love J-Mo. We told you about J-Mo all year last year. Trade for him and James Cook. Those are the 2 in-season trade for him every week players from week 1 on. We'd all talk about J-Mo, get James Cook, get James Cook, get J-Mo. I love J-Mo. I hate that I've got to cut him down to size. It makes me frustrated. I got to say things that come off like I don't like J-Mo. I love J-Mo. But this third to fourth round turn ADP or valuation that people are starting to stick to J-Mo, like as if he's a top 36 to 40 overall player, is a ridiculous expectation. in the environment that is the current Detroit Lions passing attack. It's just too much.
I'm just looking in the trailer, and I'm curious. I see people are pretty adamant about one side, but in terms of a trade someone got offered, Amon-Ra and Kyron for Ladd and Amari and Hampton.
Amon-Ra and Kyron for Ladd and Hampton. Amon-Ra and Kyron.
I think
it depends.
I think it's closer than
build. It depends on your build.
Right.
Like Ladd is close to Amon-Ra to a degree. And then we got 5 gifted memberships by Mr. T. Mr. T, appreciate you. Sending you to Mars.
To Mars!
Mr. T, appreciate you, my boy. Nice work dropping that 5 gifted memberships. Guys, thank Gavin, Ray, Malik, T-Mass. Please thank your boy for dropping that gifted membership on you like that. I get, what were you talking about?
The trade someone put in the chat, Amon-Ra and Kyron or Ladd and Houston.
Yeah. That's tough, man. Jeez.
Yeah, at first glance, I think you say, "Oh, I'll give you the Amon-Ra side."
Yeah,
but
at first glance, you would.
But there's, something to think about there, especially with Hampton, what he could turn into.
Yeah. Addict says 3-4 turn is too steep for me. Well, but when you say he's the man and J-Mo's not, is what you're, I'm sorry, St. Brown's not. You're saying J-Mo's the man there. Then how is the 3-4 turn too steep for you? But yes, I mean, that's what I'm saying. The 3-4 turn is too steep. He is a playmaker, just like we screamed from the rooftops all last year. And I'm not saying I invented J-Mo last year. He's obviously a known commodity, but he was very doubted. So maybe some of you, maybe Attic, you liked him too. But there were a lot of people that did not want to tout J-Mo last year when we did. So I'm just trying to emphasize, I am not a J-Mo hater. I believe in him. I love J-Mo. But J-Mo is going to live in different waters in 2025 than he did in 2024. So it's going to be a little harder, I think, to get fed if things don't go to plan. And of course, the Lions are going to say things like, oh, we're going to get him the ball. He looks great. But this is a Ben Johnson offense that does not have Ben Johnson anymore. And we don't, maybe Morton is better than him. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe he is. And then we'll come back and we'll reassess. We'll adjust and adapt. No one's moving Amon-Ra St. Brown or J-Mo so low that I'm even going to eat crow on that. I'm not saying that Amon-Ra is going to bust. I think Amon-Ra, as I said, after BT, after Neighbors, after, I think London's going to be closer to Amon-Ra than people think. After that group, they all goes in the top 14. London goes in the top 14. That's where Amon-Ra is for me. Instead of 9 or 10, I have Amon-Ra at 11, 12, 13. That is not disrespectful. I'm not going to eat any sort of crow at the end of the season if Amon-Ra and the Detroit Lions figure it out by midseason or figure it out after 3 games. But I do believe there will be some sort of out-of-the-box slowness to the offense that they recover from. They'll run a lot more if they need to, and they'll win the division. I've already made that abundantly clear that that's the path for the Detroit Lions. But that might lead to less passing, is all I'm saying. Alex says Travis Hunter's top 10 wide receiver, no doubt about it. That's what we're trying to, the message we're trying to convey, my boy. And we will see how many listen, how many don't. Alex, there's a lot of people sounding off. Steve is on board with this as well. Steve and Alex, two commenters in a row that are feeling the heat. Who's on the phone line here?
I got a question for you, Smitty.
Go ahead, Bruce.
BTJ and Travis Hunter. I'm in with you. They're top 10 receivers. Now, what do you think that does for Trevor Lawrence in Dynasty?
Well,
does that move him up?
We've talked about this. I think you even asked me about it. But that it probably doesn't need to mean what people think it needs to mean. What is 12 touchdowns? 12 touchdowns for Hunter receiving. Maybe he catches or runs 1 or 2 in. and then 14 touchdowns for BTJ. You know, we're talking about 26 touchdowns. So I'm not saying that he doesn't throw more to other players, but it wouldn't be crazy if T-Law, you know, only threw another 5 or 6 touchdowns to pass catchers or whatever, and he's just super saturating these two players. He doesn't really need to throw a lot of other touchdowns to other guys. So what does he need to do? You know, I'm not saying he can't score and be as good as Baker in his revival, you know, process that Liam Cohen put him through. But T-Law doesn't need to be a top 5 quarterback at all to produce 2 top 12 wide receivers. I'm not saying it doesn't make for good odds that he's a lot better than we think, and he's a number 7, number 8, number 6, he could be like Goff, really. Goff was QB 6 last year. How is that even possible? You know, you look back on it, you're like, I know, but exactly. But you look back on it, you're like, Goff was QB 6? What? You know, that's what we could be looking at with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, even Baker, you look back on Baker and you say that too. Like, Baker is a dog, though, and I love watching Baker play. This is not a knock on Baker whatsoever, but you do sometimes catch yourself going, geez, Baker played well last year. You know, so could T-Law have those kind of years? Yeah. And do I think that that T-Law, it's an impossibility that he's eventually a top 6 to 10 staple quarterback, even if it's, you know, partly propped up, but propped up for years. As Cohen has success, he'll stay in the coaching role and everything will stay the same. I mean, it doesn't really matter why or how it's propped up. If it is what it is, perception's reality. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, but he played higher than the bottom of the bottom because Shanahan's offense, perception's reality. He lived in a reality where he got to hand the ball to Debo Samuel as a wideback, and Debo got to make stats produce out of his rear end for Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is bad. I'm just saying Trevor Lawrence could look a lot better than he actually is, and that's okay. We've seen that happen before, and Trevor Lawrence could actually become good. Trevor Lawrence was not somebody that I think the industry as a whole, we all, followers, content creators, everybody liked Trevor Lawrence. There were very few people on record that said when he was coming out of college, this guy won't make it. He was such a good prospect, locked and loaded, airtight. But you got to remember that he's gone through multiple coaches and multiple regimes over and over and over, especially his year 1, which is probably the most, you know, vulnerable to his growth and maturity, to literally have what's his face?
Urban
Meyer come in and just completely pull the rug out from his progress and to say, learn this way, this awful way of playing football. Let's ruin this kid. Pull the rug out from under him. He starts over in year 2. Starts over again. Like, he's literally continued to start over. Like, how much can you really judge, you know, Trevor Lawrence? And we saw success. Remember that playoff game? You know, that comeback game?
Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers game.
Chargers.
And then he goes to Denny's the next day, and that guy was the biggest thing in football at that moment. It was like, this is a top 5 quarterback. He's arrived. We saw it. We know that there's somewhere in there. He's a gunslinger. He's a wild, wild west guy. And I think Liam Cohen.
You saw. He was, his second year, he was QB8. His third year, he was QB13. And then last year, he got hurt and regressed again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know if, like, I'm a big fan of Hunter and BTJ, and I know it's not, I don't own any of them, but I was like, well, maybe I should make a call to the Trevor Lawrence owner and say, hey, you have him in Dynasty. You going to be willing to give him up?
I think every day, look what I'm doing now to the board. I moved it from top 10 to 5 to 8. I think every day that you talk to me, I'll be higher on Travis Hunter. I think every hour you talk to me, I'll be higher on Travis. I just one up myself. I was one upper right now. I just saw my board and I said top 10 2025. How can I make this bold in Dynasty if it's top 5 to 10? I'll just make it top 5 to 8. I'm not. I know it seems like I'm a little bit over zealous here. I'm telling you, the feeling I get when I watch, and this goes for 3 rookies really, and almost 4 when you include Ibuka. And I'm not saying Hampton isn't good. I'm not saying that, you guys know how I feel about Genty. That goes without saying. You throw Genty in there, and then there's another one. But this rookie class is so good, and rookie classes are so good now moving forward. When I watch Hendy play, the gut instinct that has made me do what I do for the amount of years I've done it, the thing that drives me to have so much fun in this industry, and when I started radio 24 years ago, and would drop bold predictions. That was what I did on the radio, the fantasy football show that was the longest running fantasy football radio terrestrial, old school, on the dial. It was on NBC and CBS Sports, bounced back and forth each year. We do it. There'd be a different contract to go to CBS, to go to NBC, but the longest running fantasy football radio show in the world. And I don't know if somebody's passed it now, but the pandemic took it out, unfortunately. I was very bummed when it didn't get renewed during the pandemic, because we shot it on location and everything was closed. And so the sponsors and everything that keep a radio, people don't know much about a radio station or a show, your advertisers fund the show. And so there, with everybody closing, and with the main place that it was hosted every single year in the sports bar as being one of the main sponsors of it, the whole thing crumbled. Pandemic took out so many things. But on that radio program, my job was to drop bold predictions. Arian Foster, I called him a top 5 running back when he was a 6th and 7th round pick, eventually climbed in late August to early September into round 4 or 5. Just dropping those kinds of predictions. The feeling I get when one of these guys emerges and I say to myself, this is JD5, and you guys see me go to work. JD5, beat a dead horse, talk about it constantly. Achane, Kyron. You guys know by now when I'm beating a dead horse on something, something's going on. Like I'm not always right. I'm not saying that. And to give you an example of that, I said Kyron was going to be a monster as a rookie. He got injured and sucked because he didn't play. And then his second year, I wasn't as high on him. Obviously, we're high on Kyron as you can be. The moment he showed any sign in week 1, it was like, this is what we've been talking about. This is what we talked about. But these things don't always land the way you want them. They don't always go as planned. And there is a world where Trevor Lawrence is the reason why Travis Hunter doesn't succeed. And I understand that. I accept that. Bijan, I beat a dead horse on Bijan. You guys know the feeling I had for Bijan was the same feeling I had for JD5, which was the same feeling I had for Kyron and Achane and all these other players, and Bucky. And Bijan, there were things out of our control. These things happen. I can't control everything. I try to see what problems could be there. But I'm telling you, when I look at Travis Hunter just moving on the field, just his physicality, his athleticism, his ability to jump, his ability to track the ball, his hands, the physical traits that he has that no one has in the league, and he has handfuls of them that other people don't have. Not one specific skill set. Pretty much everything he does is better than everybody else in the National Football League. Now, playing the position, he hasn't mastered that yet. You can't be better than JJ or Jamar Chase when you haven't played at the level they played for as long as they played. But the physical traits that he brings to the table, he's literally better than everybody in the NFL in these individual categories. He's the most athletic wide receiver I've ever seen. He's so amazing. He's so amazing. I can't stand it. And every time I look at a ranking, I feel like I'm not doing this justice. It needs to be higher. It needs to be higher. Him, Hendy, Harvey, Genty, Ibuka. These are 5 monsters. I don't tout all rookies. I'm not high on Ted McMillan. I'm not high on Golden at all. I'm not really as high on Judkins or Caleb Johnson. I'm not just that all rookies are amazing and we're going to land some of them and look good. I've selectively picked my 5, and a couple of them are doubted by a lot. This is not just taking the top 5 ranked guys, throwing a bunch of mud at the wall. Ibuka, we're talking about Travis Hunter, who's been doubted all offseason. Genty, everybody loves him now. No one can even say anything about Genty anymore. But Hendy and Harvey super doubted. Those players, they're difference makers. They're going to be generational to some degree. Now, Harvey's a little bit of a mixed bag because he's older. But again, I'm not worried about it in Dynasty because he's going to have a 6-year shelf life. I don't really care. What else you guys got? Travis, what do you got?
Smitty.
Let me go to Travis. Quick here, Bruce.
Yeah, just on Hunter, I think, I know people get really defensive over it. It is what it is, but the majority of people who are doubting that Hunter can play both ways have heard someone else say that and have chosen to stick with that tape. It's not based on them watching film or watch the tape, as they always say when they try to throw it in your face with that. Oh, he can't fit in both positional meetings. How's he going to go to both meetings? It's like
hello.
It's take they've heard and decide to latch on, which is fine, but very rarely do I think
he saw it on another channel. He's a repeating Roger.
They came up with on their own.
Yeah, they're a repeating Roger. They saw it on another channel. The parrot, we call him. We drop the parrot emoji whenever someone comes in and says something like, he'll get hurt playing both sides of the... Is that what the guy said? Oh, yeah. Let me repeat exactly what I heard. Here, say it into my ear. He will get hurt playing both sides of the ball. No one's ever done that. Oh, yeah, no one's ever done that. Or I'm just afraid... The worst one is the uneducated... Not in general. The fantasy uneducated. The fantasy football uneducated stance of... I'm just afraid he's going to play more cornerback than wide receiver. Like that. I don't understand how someone's making a determination when they haven't even looked into it yet. They haven't even, they're literally saying it where other people could read it, just like Amazon reviews. Imagine reviewing when people review a product, Amazon they say, I haven't got it yet. And they review it. They go, I haven't got it yet. But I have a feeling this thing won't hold up 4 out of 5 stars. Like, there are people that review stuff without even opening the box, or I just got it, haven't opened the box yet, but the box came damaged, so I'm going to give it 4 stars when the box, the FedEx, had nothing to do with it. I feel like that's what happens when people say things like, I'm just afraid he's going to get injured, and so therefore I'm not going to draft him, or I think he's going to play more DB without even knowing what you're dealing with. They've already said, Cohen's already said this is a wide receiver. He's playing primarily wide receiver, and he'll learn the defensive side when he can. And yes, the intention is for anybody that's a scared Scotty out there that he wants to play 100% of both sides of the ball. I'm not saying he's going to do that. I'm not saying he's even going to play 100% receiver. They might say, let's play 80% and 30 so that you can be in there on third downs majority of the time. You can be in there whenever we need the ball back, or it's 3rd and 12 and they need to throw the ball. Let's throw Travis Hunter in there and lock down whoever the hell we want to lock down. This is a lockdown corner. He potentially could be a lockdown corner in this league. And you throw him in there on 3rd down, he stops it or intercepts it and then scores the next drive. I love that people have doubts about Travis Hunter. It's good for all of us. And let it I wouldn't even have you go out there and try and convince people, because then you're just ruining the potential later ADP that we get. Now, go ahead, Bruce. You wanted to say something else.
Sorry, Nick here. Oh, what?
That
was Nick here.
Okay.
Nick here from Canada.
Go ahead, Nick. Why don't you know? Have you go first, then Bruce.
Don't you know? Oh yeah, not Canada Day yet, but the Oilers did win last night, so close enough.
Give me a positive. Give me a really excited, positive sentence about Travis Hunter. Like, Travis Hunter's gonna be amazing, don't you know, or something like that. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? I don't have that for you, Smitty. But what I do have is a question. Has there ever been a 2nd overall pick that, as a receiver, that's been this doubted in our lifetime ever. I think I know the answer to that.
I mean, it depends how you analyze that. Go ahead and give me your response, but I believe that we're looking at a very, very two layers of doubt. One layer of doubt before the draft, and then now a different layer of doubt because he landed in a spot where his coach said we're going to play him at wide receiver. So from a fantasy perspective, we've watched him be one of the most doubted players ever because he got drafted in the 9th and 10th and 11th rounds all the way through April. And we cleaned up on that. He's like the most doubted player to me, but there's sections to this. So go ahead and tell me what you want to say.
So I did some research because I had this exact same conversation with my Dynasty league mates today. And they were all piling on, talking about, all this. He's going to get injured. He's going to play defense, all this, So I'm sitting back, and then I came in with a bombshell. I looked it up. There's only been 5 guys since 2000 to 2003. I don't know about last year, but I don't think I guess that would include Marvin Harrison, that have been drafted in the top 3 as a receiver, and 3 of them are Hall of Famers. We've got Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, and Andre Johnson. So I'm not saying that Hunter's going to be a Hall of Famer, but there's a pretty damn good chance based on those numbers.
Yeah. I mean, good take. Let's give him a standing ovation.
Mashed potatoes!
But I will say this. You say that to somebody. Let me tell you. Hold on. Let me be the responding Roger.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is where you're going to get when you say that. He could be a Hall of Famer because, look, he's in good company. You can't compare Travis Hunter to Calvin Johnson. Did you just compare Travis Hunter to Calvin Johnson? Did you just do that?
No, that's not what I was saying, obviously.
But no. But you know what's funny about that? I'm not even saying you can't do that. I'm just saying what makes me laugh is when someone tells you that you can't predict the next big thing. So what if someone wants to say he's the next Calvin Johnson? And he's not the same build. We're not saying that. But the next Marvin Harrison Jr., the next whatever, who's to say that these players aren't the next player? Who gives anybody the right to tell somebody that they can't try and predict the next Hall of Famer? Who gives anybody the right to say this isn't the best wide receiver that ever lives? If that person wants to, they can compare whatever the hell they want. Like, what makes you the determining factor, not any of you on the phone line, but the hating Henry that comes in and says you can't say so. Like when you call, if we called Genty the next, before he ever got hyped up even more, the next Adrian Peterson, people go, you can't compare him to Adrian Peterson. You can't compare him to Saquon Barkley. Well, now everybody is. At one point, comparing Genty to AP or Barkley was laughable to somebody, and then it wasn't.
I totally agree, and I love your analogy.
All right, I want to hear. Let me get the audio out because I want a clean cut of this. And you okay if I use this? I want you to say something very Canadian about Travis Hunter going to the moon, bro.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud. I think he's going right down, and he's going to take all the maple syrup right to the bank, baby. Let's go.
Can I get it without the F-bomb so I can play it a lot? Try it one more time.
Oh, man, I can't even remember what I just said, brother.
Maple syrup to the moon. Maple syrup to the moon. Go ahead. Try it one more time.
Travis Hunter is taking maple syrup right to the moon, baby. Let's go.
Oh, man. I don't know if we can recreate the first one. All right, man. Appreciate you.
I know. You know what? I also just wanted to add, I'm a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I've been suffering these past couple of years. And I just want to say Mike Tomlin out. I do think that Rodgers is great for fantasy. It is horrible for my mental sanity because it means another 10 years of us finishing 9-8 and not getting the first pick. That's all I have to say.
All right, man. See you later. Bruce, go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Oh, no. It was what would you like the whole Travis Hunter, BTJ, Trevor Lawrence. if you were as high on Trevor like them to thinking I'm on the Trevor Lawrence board, what would you offer in a dynasty trade for him?
What would I offer for Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. I mean, you could get him very cheaply, even
What
with
do you
all this
got?
hype. No one cares about him. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is still. Everybody doubts that BTJ and Hunter can coexist as studs. They think that Travis Hunter won't be a stud. So I don't think you could go get Trevor Lawrence pretty easily. I think well outside the top 12 quarterbacks. So that's going to be very cheap. But in a super flex, getting a second quarterback's hard. So it might be not easy to do no matter what. But like, I don't know. I don't even think you need to start Trevor Lawrence in one QB. There's too many good running quarterback options that make it hard for Trevor Lawrence, even if he throws 34 touchdowns and delivers 4,000 yards and makes both of them top 10 wide receivers. He's still not going to be better than a Lamar or Burrow or Hurts or Mahomes or JD5 or Josh Allen or maybe 2-3 Bo Nix, 2-3-4 other quarterbacks. You know, that's the part that's so funny when someone says something without thinking. They go, if you think both Travis Hunter and BTJ are going to be top 12 wide receivers, you have to think Trevor Lawrence is number 3. Am I right? Am I right? Like, no, I don't. I don't.
Well, so a good example of that is both Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. They finished 10 and 11 as wide receivers with Aaron Rodgers, who didn't have a spectacular statistical year. He had 3,800 yards and 28 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Hey,
Brian asks a good question that we still don't have a lot of answers to in some ways, but Hunter, what's his IDP value? I mean, we said he could break IDP, but let me ask you this, Brian, if you go to your cornerback or defensive back projections, or go to your league, sort by DBs and 2025 projections, and tell me how many points they're projecting for Travis Hunter. You know, it depends on your scoring too, and commissioners can change things too. You got to be careful. You got to know your league, know your commissioner, ask in advance what's going on, because if you play in an IDP league and he scores a TD, he might not get a touchdown. It might be a defensive scored touchdown that doesn't give the player individually anything because you don't play an IDP. So nobody's scoring any defensive touchdowns in IDP period. So you got to check your scoring. If you go to your projections and look at the current player pool and see Travis Hunter, it should tell you and alert you to what kind of projections or what kind of points he's going to score. Also sort by wide receivers and see if it has extra points. You could calculate his stats and see if the stats are considering any sort of defensive scoring. And if it's off based on his numbers, you can find the difference and figure out what's going on. But I don't know that he can break IDP if your scoring in league will not allow for it. So I don't think he breaks IDP in every case. I think it much depends on your league. It really does. You know, not to mention, so that goes for even some people are saying in non-IDP, can he break fantasy because he scores a touchdown on defense? It's going to be a defensive touchdown. In IDP specifically, so I was answering it both ways. In IDP, you got to see if the defensive player is allowed to score offensive touchdowns. Like, so it goes both ways. In non-IDP, can a player score a touchdown outside of receiving and rushing and passing touchdowns? So you really got to look at it. You got to look at it from all these different angles, but your projection should tell you. Law Dog quit drinking milk and it shows, says Young. I don't know. He might get back to drinking milk. We might bring back the Law Dog milk. Even if he's not number 7 or 5, if he's like just top 10 and he's producing this great amount of fantasy points for 2 wide receivers, there's a reason to celebrate Law Dog. You know, we might celebrate him in a different way, like he is a facilitator of glory. He doesn't really score glory himself, but he facilitates it, and then we're going to give him standing ovations on the weekly. I'll give T-Law a standing ovation every Monday morning, coming in here and talking about how he gifted us all fantasy football glory. So T-Law, depends how you look at it. Is there a world where he's as good as Baker? Maybe. Maybe, baby. All right. Final thoughts. Bruce, we'll be back tonight.
No, it was a good show, and you know what? I'm waiting to see how all these ADPs get rearranged.
I got to make my Hunter video. I hope I can get it ready in enough time tonight, but Hunter needs his video. He needs it now.
And Debo needs one too.
Debo's going to be a steal. Debo's going to be one of those players that's kind of right alongside of Mahomes and Hunter for being a debacle ADP-wise for people. Just looking back and regretting. Rockout says, check DMs. Let me check the DMs real quickly. Then I'll go back over to our Canadian who's standing by. Hang tight real quickly. I gotta play Rockout's message right here. Rockout, thank you for the super chat. Here's Rockout's new tune. I imagine it's Travis Hunter related.
People don't like Hunter. They don't like Hunter. You better like Hunter, or you be hunted. You be the feast. He is that beast who'll take it over. Straight generational talent. Take it to the bank.
I'm done. Go ahead. Actually, let me get Gump in here, and then I'll go to you. Hold on one second. All right, Gump, I'm gonna put you on hold real quickly. Just hang tight, Gump. I'll come to you in 1 second. All right, back to my resident Canadian. What's up, my boy?
I'm so glad we're on the same page with the Hunter thing. I picked them up in so many places, and we are just ahead of the game here, guys.
Yeah,
I just want to tell everyone in the chat.
Hey, I know you pretty well right now. Keep the swearing to a zero. Okay, go ahead.
Did I even swear?
No, but you every time you call, you do drop 3 or 4. But go ahead.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
You don't even
it's
know
part
it,
of our
folks,
Canadian heritage.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
Anyways, I just want everyone to just feel good about drafting Travis Hunter everywhere. I think you're good, even in the maybe late second round. And I think that you're just ahead of the game right now. It's just get ahead of all those haters. Don't care about the haters. Don't listen to them because Smitty knows. One other thing, I think the next thing that we need to take into account is everyone is going to get on the Cam Scadaboo train here very soon as well. Yeah. I think that's the next one. I just think he's the other guy. There's Harvey, Scat, and Hunter. I think those 3, and Trey Henderson. I think those are the 4 guys you need to own, no matter what.
Scat ain't on the Moonman for nothing. And
he's on a shuttle tomorrow.
Andy has
the Saturn Men.
One small step for man.
The Jupiter Men. Okay. Jupiter is so large.
So,
every planet in the solar system.
The Jupiter Men are Gibbs, JD5, Neighbors, Genty, Hunter, Lamb, Harvey, Bucky, Hendy. I know we ended up moving a lot of people onto the Jupiter Men. It says 7 spots, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I'm not adding additional spots. We're gonna have one of the other lists are going to be light with like 4 guys because I don't want to add more players. But look at this list.
Can I add 1 player?
No, you cannot. But go ahead. Tell me who you would like to nominate.
Can I suggest a player?
Sure.
I would like to nominate a deep sleeper that I think is being way overlooked right now, and it is Brashard Smith.
Well, we like
Smith.
I think him a lot.
I think that is a guy who, if you can get him in a dynasty, I traded Milroe for Brashard Smith in a 3rd. Superflex.
Brashard Smith is going to be more of a midseason monster because of his ability to get going later. He's not going to get run right away. So midseason monster.
No, but he can play receiver too.
Yeah, but midseason monsters are reserved for guys that will play like Moonmen, Marsmen, Saturnmen, but it's going to happen later. Like Ray Davis can't be a Moonman necessarily. I mean, he could, but he's more of a midseason monster. He's going to come out firing. So Brashard Smith probably
that.
can't.
I'm kind of new to the. I'm new to this.
Yeah. All right, bro. Appreciate you. No
I'm
problem.
new to the channel, so I don't know your system.
Yeah, it's a complex space algorithmic data, molecular structure model. It's not for everybody, but you're learning pretty quick. All right.
Yeah, well, I think that Broussard, if you could add him to the mid-season monsters soon,
sure.
I think that would be great because I think that Kansas City backfield is so sketchy right now with Pacheco and Hunt. I think that he's just so flexible, and he was a receiver in college or with Florida, Miami.
Converted wide receiver, running back. He's got a lot of talent. The only negatives would be trusting him to protect Patrick Mahomes, trusting him as a converted wide receiver that doesn't know the running back position as well. That's the only thing that would give him. He needs time. Is all it is. All right, bro. Appreciate you. But yeah, Broussard's definitely a big upside guy.
Take my call.
Later. Okay. Gump, you're live.
Okay.
How it's going out there, Smitty? I'm calling you from Lake Michigan, right off the channel.
What's up, Gump?
I just been over here thinking a little bit, and I know you like that Travis Hunter and all that, but man, I wish. Well, I was in a family league, and I won the whole thing, and they kicked me out of the league because they couldn't beat me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I only get one league I get to play in, and I can't watch Sunday football, so I need you to be sharp this year because I can't watch it on Sunday. So you're gonna have to bring me in like a blind man.
So you're gonna play fantasy without watching it at all?
I can't watch on Mormon. That's my heritage. I can't watch on Sunday. I jinxed the Lions. I watched them every year, every game.
It's better and better. Gumpy, who comes in. Can you watch it later? Can you just record it and rewatch it on Monday?
Yeah, I can watch the replay. I can watch the replay. But
because I was going to say, how are you coming in here giving any sort of like advice to people when you call in? You're like, golf's going to be good. You watch when you don't even watch. This is new to me.
I can't watch on Sunday. It hurts. I mean, I got to set my lineup, and I got to trust what you're saying. So I need you to be on top of your game.
You know what? I'll be on point for you. Not for everybody else, not for the brand, not for the channel, not for my, what I do for a living. For you, I didn't think about it until right now, Gump, but for you, I'm going to now be on point. I didn't realize that. Thank you, Gump.
Yeah, I can't watch on Sunday. That's why,
like, Thanksgiving,
Thursday, and all that.
You can't watch on Thursday?
Right?
What?
Well, I can watch on Thursday. I can watch on Gobbler's Day. I dress up as Batman at the game, but that's beside the point.
I can't believe you can't watch football on Sundays. That's
and Spider-Man. I know it's hard. It's hard, but that's why I found your show. That's why you brought me in. You got me really close last year.
Can you even watch my show on Sundays?
No. I can't really. That's why I call late and stuff. I don't call on Sundays.
You wait till midnight to call. Now I'm wondering why. Yeah. Now I know why you haven't been here on Sundays. You can't watch this show on Sundays.
I can't talk sports. I can't watch sports.
Wow.
I can't go swimming.
Wow. All right.
I can't do no going to the movies, no shopping, no buying stuff. I really rely on you.
All right.
I'm a blind man out here.
I gotta go. Appreciate you, Gump.
Okay, but I just got one more thing.
One last thing, and I gotta go. Just wear me out.
Okay, you know how we asked Kruger about that question we had, and then you said, can we ask Ziggy the same question?
Ziggy doesn't answer questions like that. He doesn't understand.
Come on,
But we could ask Pablo. Here,
I don't want to ask.
Yeah, Pablo, hombre. How fuego is Jamo Williams going to be versus Travis Hunter? Do you like Travis Hunter, monster rookie, incoming rookie, or Jamo speedy wide receiver? Which wide receiver is going to outperform the other in 2025 fantasy football? Is it Jameson Williams, or Travis the rookie Hunter?
All right, let's break this down. For 2025 fantasy football, we're looking at Jameson Williams, the speedy Lions wideout, versus Travis Hunter, the electrifying rookie joining the Jaguars. Both have serious upside, but it's a toss-up with different flavors. Williams has blazing speed, 4.2 level jets, and showed flashes in 2024 with 24 catches, 614 yards, and 5 scores despite missing 6 games to suspensions. He's got a clear role in Detroit's high-octane offense, but his off-field issues, like the gambling and PED suspensions, raise some red flags. If he stays clean His big playability could see him push for 800 to 1,000 yards and 8+ touchdowns, especially with Jared Goff slinging it. But consistency is his hurdle. Can he finally put it all together? Hunter, on the other hand, is a unicorn. The guy's a two-way phenom, but the Jaguars traded up to number 2 overall to make him their WR1. His 2024 college stats at Colorado, 96 catches, 1,258 yards, 15 touchdowns, scream elite potential. Jacksonville's offense needs weapons, and with Trevor Lawrence throwing, Hunter could see 100+ targets easy, maybe 85 catches, 1,200 yards, and 10 to 12 scores. The catch? We don't know how much he'll play quarterback.
Okay, in fairness, I think you did have JMO's stats wrong. You were using some old data, but that's okay. Pablo, you're still learning. Does that change anything if you go digging into 2024 JMO stats? I don't know. He's not even. He's not quite as. That was some pretty good information though. He didn't have all the data right. But the bottom line is this: Pablo, and Kruger don't know ball. Your boy knows ball. And I'm telling you, Travis Hunter is better than JMO. Okay, I like JMO. I like JMO a lot.
I want to cry. I'm down here by Lake Michigan. I want to cry.
What do you mean you want to cry?
He didn't have a Lions jersey on.
I simply want to cry. My dog's next to me. I want to rub my tears on his fur. I just want to cry about that.
Rub my tears on his fur.
Finish him. Call term.
This is a family show. We're not a family show, but we have families. What are we doing there? John says best player 2, 3, and 4th round dynasty rookie draft. John, it's hard to say. You'd have to give me a list of players. Every draft's going to be different. In general, I love Bucky in round 2. I don't even know where Travis Hunter is going to fall, but Travis Hunter's right up there for me in that 2-3 area, and I don't know exactly what you're thinking.
Rookie draft.
Oh, rookie. Was it rookie draft?
No.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I misread that. So, best player 2, 3, and 4th round. Okay. Dynasty rookie. I'm sorry. I'd probably say, assuming it's not super flex because you didn't say it was, I'm probably going to say, I'm going with,
Gadaboo, Burden.
Yeah, I'd say Burden's falling in the 2nd round a lot. I love Burden. Kyle Williams is probably one of my favorites. Scadaboo, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but he goes in the 3rd round a lot of times. Tyler Warren in the 2nd round, like clockwork. I'd say those are kind of my favorites, and that's assuming a Harvey doesn't fall because your league doesn't know what time it is. Then, of course, I'm taking Harvey. He's a top 5 overall pick for me in rookie-only drafts. So, John, make sure you're aware of all of that. But, yeah, I think, in general, Burden, Abuka is not going to fall. But if he does, you take Abuka. He's my number 2 wide receiver in our draft class.
Jack Besh.
Besh is good. Yeah, Besh is good. Tyler Warren's always there. He's always there.
Higgins.
Yeah. I like Higgins is okay. He's okay. I know everyone's really excited about him, but I think he's just capped. I just don't like him.
Back and forth with him and Noel.
Yeah,
I wonder if Noel Higgins might have a little bit higher ceiling. I don't know, but Noel might get some more targets his rookie year to start because of the position he plays.
Gump wiping his tears on his dog's fur is what he said. I don't know what kind of business that is. That's not for this show. I'm out of here.
If JMO wasn't on the Lions, we all know. It's just a Lions thing.
Yeah, and again, me saying Travis Hunter is going to outplay JMO is not a knock on JMO. That's just, it's more of a how much I feel about Hunter. I hate that Gump always makes me sound like a JMO hater. I'm not a JMO hater. He's the number 2 wide receiver on an offense that just lost Ben Johnson that has Goff throwing, where JMO may or may not be the number 2 target option on the team because they have so many mouths to feed. Jahmyr Gibbs alone, even if, let's say, it was JMO, St. Brown, and Gibbs only, there wasn't even Monty, who they expect to catch more balls this year. Laporta, who's healthy and ready to go. And a diminishing Goff, probably. I get it. I get it. I understand why J-Mo's attractive and he's speedy, but they're also kind of like in Detroit, not exactly, he hasn't exactly been a well-behaved boy. So, you wonder, you've heard rumors too about that, how happy they are with the way J-Mo goes about his business, but I don't know. We'll see. I like J-Mo. I like J-Mo, very, very off the field concern type of player as well. Like that could happen at any moment. People might want to say, hey, he's fine. He's going to be okay. And he might be, but it's just one more dynamic at play. And, there was a potential thought once, not too long ago, that he could be someone that they maybe want to move because the organization's concerned and they have conversations with them. We don't know how they're like going, I don't think this guy's going to stay, on the straight and narrow. Why are they not wanting to give him an extension? So it's kind of like it's wild to me. All right. Anything else, Travis?
I think they want to see it, one more year before they talk about extension with him. Or
yeah.
They also, I know he's extremely fast, and that's game-changing speed. But depending on the way they want to run their offense, they may also look at him and say, if we can get something good for him, we'd rather have a Tesla in this offensive system and get another speed guy that can play on the outside or something.
Yeah. It says something that the team is waiting to extend him. They have concerns about extending him. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't make him a bad player. He's very speedy. But like Travis Hunter's on a whole different level. Travis Hunter could be he could be the best receiver in the league if he wanted to be, if Trevor Lawrence was good enough. That's what I believe about Travis Hunter. And no one has to agree with that. No one agreed with it when I said it about Jamar Chase. About 3 years ago, when I talked about Jamar Chase being potentially the number one wide receiver in the league, I got laughed at. I constantly have people in my chat saying, you're crazy. Jamar Chase, number one, maybe top 5 wide receiver, maybe, bottom of round 1. Yeah. But when I started touting Jamar Chase as potentially the number one overall wide receiver in the league, he was far from it at the time. So I don't want to hear anybody tell me they get to tell me when I get to drop the next Jamar Chase. I get to do whatever the hell I want. All right. Anything else? Remy,
just real quick.
Harvey. Go ahead. Harvey by lot.
No, just real quick. With just the news coming out about, Jaguars camp and stuff, where are you on ETN? Like, are you ranking him a little higher, or you think Bigsby still has the upper hand? Or?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I think ETN
it's a straight up competition.
I think ETN might come in with some veteran, mojo, and we'll see. Then we have to see what happens from there. Then Bigsby's got to rip it from him. Bigsby's, got metrics to the roof on forced missed tackles and yards after contact, and Bigsby's a baller.
Yeah.
So if Bigsby can stay healthy, hold on to the ball, prove himself, and ETN can't stay healthy or just isn't efficient for any stretch of games. But I do think ETN probably does get the short leash, but gets run out there on the field with the leash on. And then, Tootin is, I think Tootin's a little bit away from getting just shoved into the lineup. He's going to be more the midseason monster type of player. But if he does hold on to the ball, and he has a problem doing that, he fumbled his first live rep, and they made it abundantly clear they were not happy. Cohen made it abundantly clear when asked about the fumble. Not like, oh, no big deal, he'll be fine. It's like, we noticed, and it was a big deal. And I know they're trying to spark a fire under him to say, hey, you had a problem with this, at times in college. Hold on to the damn ball, or you won't get a shot.
Yeah, and ETN is he's tough to put a finger on, because he's kind of in that same situation of Trevor Lawrence, where I think Lawrence has been there one more year, but it's just kind of been an up and down mess, and like the whole team has never quite had an identity, and so it's hard to know. And it's hard to know, like, has he fallen off a little bit, or is it just a situation that
I don't know.
He didn't produce?
That's why it almost requires all three running backs to really fully understand that you've got it locked and loaded, and you can do it. It's not always the smartest maneuver in best ball to draft 3 RBs from the same team. It's usually not a good move at all, but there are scenarios where if you go super wide receiver, quarterback, tight end heavy, and you get, let's say, 1 Hendy or 1 Bucky, and that's it, and you come strolling into your running back 2 opportunities later with the hero RB approach, and ETN and Bigsby and then Tootin later, depending on how the ADP falls, you might even get a player in between there. You don't have to go 1-1-1 right one after the other. But it's actually in best ball very advantageous to have all 3 Jaguar running backs with a Bucky, or all 3 Jaguar running backs with a Gibbs or Bijan, and then you focus on all the other positions for a string of rounds. And you're almost guaranteeing, it's just a unique situation. You're guaranteeing yourself a productive running back to the level of Bucky, even maybe. Even if it rotated at some point in best ball optimal scoring, you're not going to miss on it, because even if you think it's going to be one way, it doesn't matter. It's what it is. Whatever it ends up being, you get those points in optimal best ball scoring. But in redraft, you'd have to make that decision each week. You're going to make the wrong decision. So owning any of the runners in best ball is different than owning all of the runners in non-best ball. I'd almost say I'm drafting just Tootin or just Bigsby, or maybe Tootin and Bigsby cuffed together, waiting for a distinct moment where one is the starter and takes over for ETN. Then I could see myself liking that cuffed combo. But it is a hard thing to predict. All right, Travis, got to run. I'll be back tonight. We'll go live tonight, have more combos.
All right, later, Smitty.
Later. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate all of you. That question earlier, Judkins or Harvey. Harvey for me by a mile, for obvious reasons.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it.
So clearly, but that's not to say Judkins doesn't have upside. That's not a knock on Judkins. Judkins is in a sharing role. Harvey's not. Harvey's 24. I guess, I get people in Dynasty are afraid of that, but his odometer reads 0. So I'm not worried about it. He's going to have a 6-year shelf life. And Harvey just is the guy. He's that guy. He is an amazing running back in a Sean Payton system where Sean Payton and the staff has already said he'll be a 3-down back. And when people question his pass blocking capability, Sean Payton's answer has been, Darren Sproles didn't need to block. We always kept him on the field. He was a 3rd-down back because he could catch the ball, and we wanted to give him the ball. Harvey's going to catch the ball. He's not going to be playing on 3rd down to block. And Sean Payton said that. On 3rd down, not pass blocking, he's a part of the receiving operation of the play. And that's what Sean Payton told us. He said there are ways to work a player in that can't pass block. And he's like, and even in that, Sean Payton reiterated that he's not a guy that can't block. He may be short, but he's stocky. He's not a small guy. He's a short guy. He said, we don't like the small guys. We don't mind the short guys as long as they're big, they can block. See you all tonight. You guys know what to do. Celebrate BTJ. Even with the celebration of Travis Hunter, we still love BTJ.
He's BTJ. What you gonna do? He's BTJ. He's gonna put it on you. He's BTJ. Gonna have a good game. He's BTJ. Your mama screams his name.
And then also, of course, Travis Hunter and BTJ are both supernovas. That's how good both players are.
There are handfuls of Saturn, Mars, and Moon men, but only 8 can be supernovas. I give you the 8 best picks in fantasy football.
They are the 8 supernovas. They are the 8.
Number 9. We're going to add a 9 Supernova. It's going to drop this week. Surprise number 9. Surprise number 9. They're the generals, the graduates from last year.
I'm looking at the 8 supernovas. The magnificent 8.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
See you all tonight, midnight Eastern. We're also additionally live whenever big news breaks and live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 3 shows. 8 p.m. Eastern, live whenever news breaks, like the Aaron Rodgers video today. Go watch that if you missed it. And then additionally, live at midnight Eastern. See you all tonight. Don't forget Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. The link is pinned in the live chat. The link's in the description of the video. If you're watching the replay, code Smitty gets it done as well if you just download the app. But that link, I just dropped it one more time in the live chat. If you want to draft tonight, click the link, get it downloaded, the app, and have it open and ready. And the instructions will be that you're going to go into the live stream, YouTube live stream, and await instructions to jump into the right draft. So download the app by clicking the link. Underdog will match your first deposit 50%, all the way up to $1,000 bonus dollars. Bonus credit that goes straight into your account. So if you drop a minimum of $10, they'll give you $5. You drop $500, they'll give you $250. You drop the maximum, you drop $1,000, they'll give you $500. If you drop $2,000, they'll give you $1,000. So up to $1,000 at a 50% clip there. Appreciate you all. See you tonight. Deuces. Thank you to my super chatters, by the way. Thank you, John, Benji, Kenwood, David W, Kenwood again, Rock Out, and John. John, you're the man. Kenwood, you're the man. David, you're the man. Benji, you're the man. Rock Out, you're the man. See you all tonight.